Hello, fellow Americans. You are on the YouTube channel Common Constitutionalism, and I am Mitch. I talk about issues in our government, the erosion of our culture, the minimizing of our way of life, and the disregard for our Constitution. Keep your conservative voices active. Subscribe to this channel and listen as I talk about issues we are facing in our country and government. Visit my website, commonconstitutionalism.com. Enjoy reading my conservative blogs, and if you like them, maybe throw in a donation. While on commonconstitutionalism.com, go ahead and shop at the Sage Novelty Shop, where you will find shirts which feature our very own unique conservative political memes and captions. Display your conservative beliefs with pride. These items send a clear message without saying a word, or if you prefer, you can use them as a conversation starter. Come join my Facebook group, Common Constitutionalism, for discussions of topics, sharing of ideas, and interacting with others just like yourself who are proud to be Americans. We need to get back to what is best for America. The problem I have with all this media crap is that everything has become a political patent place anymore. Drama. Governing this great country is far too important, not only for America, but also for the world. One of my peeves is the 24/7 drama, and the catalyst for that is the availability of 24/7 so-called news and nonstop social media, both of which are comprised of 75% BS. Just because someone said or wrote something doesn't make it true. Because you saw it on the news or read it on social media does not make it a fact. Whatever happened to integrity? I remember when we used to have 30 minutes of local news and an hour of national news 5 days a week. And only on local channels, either NBC, CBS, or ABC. Now there are 250 channels, and that is part of the problem. In order to fill 24 hours of airtime, these channels have all these yahoos giving their opinions and then trying to pass it off as news, when it is 75% BS. Frankly, I do not care which side of the political aisle they came from. They are all guilty of the BS. In the old days, they only had 1 hour to report the news. Today, they have 24 hours to voice their opinions. The sad thing in all this is the number of people of any age who cannot discern the difference between fact and opinion. If they saw it on the news or read it on the internet, then it must be true. Also, the younger aged, let's say 14 to 25 years old, something like that, who do not have the political experience to understand the difference, nor are they able to fully grasp the impact that such opinions have on this nation. America is in more turmoil and more divided today than ever before in history. That's right, even more than during the Civil War. The divisive nature we have in society today is unequaled in our history. Everything is centered on us against them and them against us. There is no middle ground anymore, and that is why Congress gets nothing done. Everyone has a win-at-all-cost attitude. It's all about winning. It's not about America. This is what, in the end, will destroy the United States of America. There was a time when whether you were Democrat or Republican was not as important as it was best for America. People or politicians can have differences of opinion on how to accomplish something if they really have the greater good at heart. Then it does not matter how they get there. It only matters that you do the right thing, what is best for America. This is the middle ground that has been lost. It should not matter whether the subject is about the border, social programs, that is welfare for those in California, Oregon, and New York, race, religion, economy, federal budget, or the federal deficit. If you truly care about the United States of America, then you will do the right thing for America. You would not vote or make judgments that will put the future of America at risk. This is exactly why the phony politicians and the people with a social entitlement mentality will end up destroying our great nation. I'm not against immigration. I'm against immigrants who come here for the free entitlements and have no desire to be an American. They obviously came here for a better way of life. So they better appreciate what she has to offer and pledge allegiance to her. I'm not against social programs. I'm against those who believe they are entitled to have the government, who is the taxpayers, pay for their whole existence. These programs were meant for and should be for helping someone out of a bad spot, not to become a lifelong or generational recipient. This ridiculous socialist mentality that the government should pay for everything is ridiculous. It is completely unsustainable. I've not busted my butt so you can get free college tuition, cell phones, housing, food, utilities, or whatever else it is that you think I should pay for. You see, the problem is not having America's best interest at heart. It does not matter if you are a politician, a citizen, or an immigrant wanting to cross our border. If you are not for America's best interests, you should not be here. Unfortunately, most of the politicians are more concerned with getting reelected, filling their pockets with lobbyists' money, and winning at all costs. They do not seem to care about what is best for America. There is absolutely no way these politicians could vote for the spending and programs they are if they are truly concerned about America's future. Do you know that the United States recorded a government debt equivalent to 106.1% of the country's gross domestic product in 2018? To give you an idea of government debt to GDP in the United States, it averaged 62.3% of GDP from 1940 until 2018. The all-time high was 118.9% in 1946, and that was because of World War II. The record low of 31.8% was in 1981. Did you catch that? The all-time low was in 1981. Ronald Reagan was our president then, quite possibly the greatest U.S. president of all time. He was presidential, he had integrity, he was honest, and he did what was best for America. No matter what anyone says, trickle-down economics does work. We as a country are on a collision course with a brick wall. The money our government is spending is ridiculous and unsustainable. Do you know that the budget President Trump and Congress passed on August 2nd, 2019 for budget year 2020 is the largest in history? You also need to know that President Obama's largest budget was $3.9 trillion for the budget year 2016. President Trump's 3-year budget average is $4.4 trillion. His 2020 budget, the largest in history, is $4.75 trillion. That is almost $1 trillion more than Obama's largest budget. Think about it, people. With Trump's average budget of $4.4 trillion, if he's reelected, in 8 years, he will spend $35.3 trillion. In comparison, Obama spent $29 trillion in his 8 years as president. This is not good, Americans. Our national debt is over $23 trillion now. With the current spending in 5 more years, it will be $28 trillion. This is not sustainable. There must be a change. We must stop voting and keeping politicians in office that are not physically responsible. And we must get rid of all the liberal, socialist-minded politicians. 40 years ago, being Republican meant being conservative, but not anymore. I believe we all need to begin looking at a new classification of politicians. I call it being a constitutional conservative. For the record, I will vote Republican because they are still slightly better on the social issues that we are dealing with. But not so much because I believe that Trump and the Republicans will lead us to the promised land. They are not constitutional conservatives. There are only a handful in Congress I believe that label can be applied to. There are Ted Cruz, Mike Lee, Louis Gohmert, Jim Jordan, Chip Roy, Rand Paul, Ben Sasse, and Mike Pence. There may be more, but those are the ones I know of that throughout their careers have voted over 90% as constitutional conservatives. Now let's be clear on one point. President Trump is not at all to blame here. We have on the other side of the aisle social liberals. And to get anything passed, we'd have to give up so much to get them to agree with anything. So it's not all on Trump, but we have to become more physically responsible. And as always, you can read the full article on my website at commonconstitutionalism.com. Let's see what we can accomplish here. My aim is to create a loyal following so I can continue bringing awareness to these kinds of issues. We will talk about issues in our government, the erosion of our culture, the minimizing of our way of life, and the disregard for our Constitution. I would appreciate you all exploring, donating, subscribing, joining, and shopping on my sites. You will see them displayed at the beginning and the end of the videos. Until next time, this is Common Constitutionalism, and I am Mitch. Thank you, America.